me get a glass of water before we begin.
Hi everyone, welcome to this emergency episode. As you know, again, bunch of genius European leaders. They think how they can manage Middle East, and they want to recognize Palestine as a state. So therefore, I have Mikhail Gamal, my dear friend, and my Middle Eastern brother, and we will talk about it. Also, don't forget, please, to donate. It may be like 10 euros, I don't know, $10 or whatever for you, a cup of coffee, but you can't imagine how crucial it is for me because it's independent media. And already, thank you for all of your supports. I really appreciate it. Mikhail, welcome, brother.
I have a question.
Go for it.
How much is doner kebab in Berlin?
In Berlin, like 560 euros.
Oh, I thought it was going to be way worse for inflation, but that's not too bad.
Uh, still, Germany is fine. Still.
Yeah, yeah.
6 euros, 7 euros. You can
That's not
also
that's not
find
too
different
bad.
costs. No, not that much. Um, okay, Mikhail.
Yeah.
If you have anything that you want to begin with, go for it. If you don't have anything in your mind, I have some
Yeah,
questions.
I do
Go
have
for it.
one thing I want to begin with. I've been just putting it out there anytime I've like done a podcast or anything. But in Egypt, a Coptic girl named Damiana from Minya was kidnapped and forcibly converted to Islam. And Egyptians, because they're not allowed to, no Egyptians are allowed to politically organize or demonstrate. So they've been, though Egyptians that are in, the Coptic Christians that are in Greece have been protesting outside the Egyptian embassy. So I want to mention that anytime I, do an appearance now, just because I want to increase the international pressure on Egypt that they fucking finally do something.
Fuck. It breaks my heart. With Druze, with Coptic Christians,
Hmm.
with Zoroastrian Iranians, that they are basically gone and no media coverage, nothing,
None,
absolutely zero. And it
nothing.
happens every day. Funny voice. It happens every fucking day.
Hmm.
No media coverage. They are
No,
not interested. They
nope.
can't sell it.
Right.
Oh, okay. First of all, before that we jump into other stuff, can you explain, really, as a summary, about first Intifada and second Intifada and these disastrous terroristic attacks that happened to Israel and also Middle East?
So I haven't done a whole lot of reading about the first Intifada. I know that from what I've read or seen, I know that it started from like an automobile accident. Like these Israelis were they and I don't even know about the details that much, so I'd rather not comment on that.
Hmm.
But the second Intifada was basically born out of the Oslo Accords, and it was pre-planned. One of the things that the Arabs and Muslims try to spin it as was that the Prime Minister of Israel at the time, Ariel Sharon, he said that he was going to go to the Temple Mount, okay, which is like a very, very hotly contested area between the two. The Palestinians, Jordanians actually, they have custodianship over the Temple Mount where Al-Aqsa is, and they,
Hmm.
they maintain it through the Jordanian Waqf. And so they try to spin it as though Ariel Sharon going to visit the Temple Mount was the thing that set off the second Intifada. But the fact of the matter is that Yasser Arafat had been coordinating this with the various Palestinian militias, including Hamas, um, either towards the end or immediately after the Oslo Accords. So, he Arafat wanted to manufacture a crisis because it puts the burden of responsibility, it puts the pressure back on Israel. The
Hmm.
peace talks broke down because Arafat rejected the Clinton parameters, which would have given them nearly everything they wanted: 97% of the West Bank, 100% of the Gaza Strip, a land corridor connecting the two pieces of land, capital in East Jerusalem. They had discussed different types of sovereignty, but in the end, Arafat rejected it because he because of the right of return for the refugees, which he knew from the beginning that he wasn't going to get from the Israelis, because for from the Israelis' viewpoint is if we take back every refugee, then that demographically changes the state of Israel. It's basically it undoes the state of Israel
Mm.
demographically, and so Arafat needed to manufacture a crisis to put the pressure and blame back on Israel. And something that we notice, you know, it's been recorded through recent history, is that anytime Israel is tangled in a conflict, whether it's with the Lebanese or the Syrians or the Palestinians, international opinion of Israel tends to plummet because the media, the way the media works, is it's just trying to bring the news to you first. The media doesn't ever
Yeah,
care about accuracy, right?
yeah,
So when the media reported the killing of Muhammad Dura, a small Palestinian boy with his father, everybody ran with it that it was Israel's fault, and the images and the video from the incident pretty shocking. And so that's the effect that it has on people. But if you do investigation, you find out that it wasn't the IDF that killed Muhammad Dara, it was the Palestinian gunmen. They were caught in the crossfire between Israel and the Palestinians. And I mean, there was a whole legal case about it against the French news company that covered the incident and presented it as, Israel killing Muhammad Dara. So,
and
yeah.
any kind of in my perspective, any kind of excuses that Yasser Arafat did make for not accepting the peace deal, I think in its core, the problem is that from the beginning, it was not about establishing a nationality or a nation called Palestine. That's the problem that we have also, still, we have this problem till today, that it was never about establishing a nation. I don't care if it will be democracy or whatever. UAE is not a democracy, Saudi Arabia is not a democracy, but they've established a nation. But from the beginning, throughout the history, it was Palestine. Palestine, first of all, was always about this Palestinism ideology, and it was always connected to terrorism, destabilizing the whole region for sake of Islam, for sake of Allah, and do not care about any people, any person, any individual. And one thing, we think that it's just about Hamas or whatever. We have round about 13 Palestinian parties or whatever. Believe me, if the Jews today, the Jews are not there, they will kill each other.
Hmm.
PLO, the sacred PLO that we think they are the future of Gaza. PLO gave guns to the so called revolutionary forces, radical, leftist, Marxist, fucked up people to fight against Shah with
Hmm.
arms. They've destabilized my whole country. After the Islamic Revolution, they are stealing by the Islamic regime. They are stealing all of our wealth, all of our resources for their sick ideology. Who did you? That's always the case about the Holy Land. That's always the case. Whether it was after the liberation of the Jewish people, it was with Iranian money, which I'm so proud of that. And even right now with these bullshit tunnels, bigger than New York tunnels, metro
Yeah.
system, bigger
Yeah.
than that. Who did you think? Who do you think that paid for that? We Iranians. We were one of the major people that we had to pay for this bullshit without our will. And still, you see these dumbass, fucked up European leaders that I can't handle it anymore, Mikhail. I can't handle it, brother. That I don't know till eternity they want to continue it. They want to cancel us. They want to say we know better than Middle Easterns. We are the victims, bro. You don't know how many. I watched our first episode, our podcast, and do you know what I saw? I saw really the face of two Middle Eastern victims that their heart is with their region, but we can't do enough. And that's sad for us. We are resilient. We will continue. We will fight. I will fight till I die. I don't fucking care. But again, like Sykes-Picot, they came, they made bunch of random countries, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, whatever. And now again, by recognizing Palestine, they are rewarding terrorists. And God knows, as an atheist, I don't know anymore. I want to ask God really, as an atheist. As an atheist, I think just God knows what will happen in the future of Middle East with terrorism. Bro, that's not something that I can tolerate. I mean, look at it. Let me also bring it. Do you have anything to mention?
No, no. Um,
Bro, God. Look at it. Oh my God. Macron says, do you have it?
Macron says recognizing Palestine is the
Recognizing
best way to
Palestine is
fight.
the best way to isolate Hamas. I cannot digest this bullshit. I
Oh
need
my
your
god.
wisdom. No, no, no,
Oh
really.
my god.
I want to keep it serious. I
It's
really
such
need
a
your wisdom, Mikhail. Tell me, how, with their arguments, how recognizing Palestine will isolate Hamas? I mean, why? How? How?
I think he knows it's bullshit. I mean the fact of the matter is that Hamas immediately after the UK recognized the Palestinian state, one of the main guys for Hamas came out and said, "This is the fruit of October 7th." Like they literally they rewarded them for terrorism. There's no other way to put it. There's still hostages in Gaza. Like that's what's crazy about it. Is like how are you isolating Hamas? You're rewarding them. You're rewarding them. And excuse me.
What's
Um,
fine?
there's a historical precedent to this. I mean, the concessions that were made in Oslo gave them the second Intifada because the concessions didn't go far enough. Essentially, Israel didn't commit national suicide, and so that was the Palestinian response to that. And this is what's really going on. It's the European countries,
Mm,
France, the UK, um, they are trying to calm down their own Muslim population because they have a huge problem with Islam right now. And they think that if they do this gesture, that they recognize the Palestinian state, that the Muslims in their countries will settle down. And it's not going to work because there is no concession that you can give to the Islamic world where they will be like, okay, this is good enough, fine.
mm,
It just doesn't happen. They will always want more. And and it's only going to increase the bloodshed in Europe because
yeah.
if we go back to when Yahya Sinwar was still alive, I remember listening to an Israeli guy named Gadi Taub, and he said that if this war finishes with Yahya Sinwar still alive, that he will be seen as a modern day Salah al-Din, you know? And but it's true. It's true that that would be very symbolic to the Muslim world, and they would be radicalized through that. They would feel emboldened because they would say to themselves, we won. To them, that's a victory. And so now, it's been about a year and a half, or a year since I watched that video, and I would sort of modify that viewpoint a little bit. It's that by recognizing a Palestinian state before Hamas has been forced to disarm, give back the hostages, or leave Gaza, you didn't just create one Salah al-Din, right? Now you're creating an entire generation of Salah
Mm,
al-Dins who will see this and be like, and say to themselves, the West can be defeated. Because what goes on in their mind, it's not that Hamas, you know, survived the war, right? It's not just that. It's that Hamas survived the war against Israel, who is backed by the United States, in their minds, most of the Western world. So it gives them that idea that this little group of Muslims fought as hard as they could and they defeated the world. And that type
yeah.
of symbolism means a lot to the Islamic world. and which is exactly why you will see an increase in terrorism, not a decrease. Because when you embolden these people, when you reward them, they will they will keep doing what they do. And it's, you know, you think about it, and it is rational the way they think. If you're gonna give us this, and we don't have to change anything about ourselves, why would we change? You know, if you give your kid, if you know, if your kid fails or passes all his classes in school, but you reward him anyway, what incentive would he have to do well in school?
I mean, in my perspective, the problem is that because I've seen it in the last 3 years, because of the engagement for putting IRGC in terrorist list of Europe and also other stuff, I see there is a huge appeasement culture in political spectrum of Europe. They are so drowned with appeasement with this and that they can't even think anymore. Just the way that you said in the first episode, they want just this calmness. They want everything to be calm. You know, be okay, be fine. You know, do not shout. And my problem is, where were these European leaders in 2006, in 2007? They've seen what Hamas is doing to the Arab children in Gaza, so called Palestine. They have seen that they are radicalizing them every second. For God's sake, I've seen a kind of kindergarten show, on television, and kind of like Ant. She's sitting here there, and 5 years old girl is there, and she's saying, I don't know, Fatima, it was in Arabic, when you grow up, how many Jews do you want to kill? And she says, five.
Yeah.
And we have right now this generation, so-called whatever Muhammad, 16 years old from Palestine. You can bring him here at the heart of Berlin with a C4. He will set us to heaven, all of us together,
Hmm.
for the sake of Allah. What do you want to do with that? Can't a 16 years old carry a gun?
Of
Can't, or
course,
can he?
of course they
He
can. Of
can.
course.
They were silent for all of these Arab children when they were getting radicalized. The same way that they were silent for me.
Hmm.
12 years of Islamic Sharia law, 12 years of reading Quran without my will. I know these hypocrites. These are a bunch of hypocrites. And now you see the consequences. You want to recognize the state of Palestine? In my perspective, fuck you. It doesn't do shit. You're just destroying your own image. And believe me, UK is more than gone. Sorry if you're watching it from UK. Do something for your country in the non-violent way. I don't want to go to prison for nothing. It's so
Of course.
epidemic and trend to send
Yeah.
people just for freedom of speech in Europe, especially, and UK.
Yeah.
Do it in non-violent way, but do something. I mean, your country is gone, and I've seen that. I've seen that. I come from a country that had the only Islamic revolution in the history of Islam. They could take over with revolution, not wars. So I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's crazy you mentioned that because um just going back to the Islamic Revolution part, right? Just a quick anecdote. I have a lot of friends that, you know, were born and raised in Iran and then left to come to America, Canada, or whatever. And they always tell me we were forced to learn Arabic and we didn't even learn the Arabic that would allow us to have a conversation with the other Arabs because the
Quranic
Arabic,
Arabic.
yeah. So it's like the most useless Arabic you could learn. It's so it's just so dumb.
Oh
Um,
my god.
but it's really unfortunate the direction that the world is headed to. And I mean, actually, I'll pull something up on my phone really quick because this is what's funny, right? They think
Mm,
they did this huge, nice gesture towards the the Palestinians, right?
yeah.
And they expect that they expect the Palestinians to be like, oh, we love the UK now, we love Australia, we love Canada. All right,
Yeah.
this girl that I've talked about many times, Janan Matari, all right, her post after the UK recognized Palestine is there. This is what she wrote on her post. There is no future sharing a border with murderous Nazis. Fuck your two-state distraction. Israel will be dismantled and all of Palestine will be whole once again. So this like it does nothing. It
Thank you.
literally does
Thank you
nothing
for your
for them.
honesty. Thank
It,
you.
like, and this is what's terrifying is, you have people like her who live in the West, and they will be emboldened by this. What they see is weakness. And when you are weak in the Middle East and when you are
Yeah.
weak with Muslims, they will overpower you. And so what people fail to realize is it doesn't take Muslims, 51% of the population, to ruin a country, to overthrow it. It doesn't. Like the people in Iran, you know, during the Islamic Revolution, I don't think they were that religious back then either. Maybe they were more religious than they were now, but I feel like Iranians have always been a pretty open-minded uh, group of people.
Bro, the
And
point is with a violent minority you can take
yeah,
over. That's the point.
exactly. Exactly. And what is more frightening is that they can just destabilize the country. They can start altercations with other groups, and like now you're having to put out a fire here and there and there. And I mean, the things that I hear said in Europe from Muslims is what's crazy, and it's becoming similar here in the United States and Canada as well. But for the longest time, for the longest time, I would watch what goes on in Europe, and I would say to myself, okay, well, as long as we don't end up like Europe, I think we're good. And the Muslims in America are more assimilated than they are in Europe. They don't act the same, but like I was wrong because what I saw as Muslims being more moderate and assimilated in America was just them being assimilated enough to mask their extremism. So it's and that in a way that's even more problematic because it's easy to look at somebody in the UK who is, shouting for Sharia, and it's easy to say, okay, that dude is clearly, a nut job, right?
Yeah.
But in America, a Muslim who, speaks like you, doesn't really talk about
Yeah.
Sharia, but, talks about the things that like Western liberals care about, like gay rights, you know, equality, uh, distribution of wealth, and stuff like that. Like those are things that appeal to Western liberals. And so when they hear Muslims talking like that, they're like, "Oh, this is somebody who, when the fight comes down, like
Mhm.
they'll back me up on what I want." No, they're not. No,
And
they're not.
suddenly you realize that mayor of Michigan to a native Christian in America. If you want to say no, native or Redskins, you're dumbass. Come on, they
Yeah.
don't exist anymore. Come on, if you whether you like it or not,
No,
the
they
native
they
people
exist. They just they don't
they
they don't
exist
exist
also.
in
We have
yeah
different tribes even.
yeah
Beautiful. I love it. We have different tribes in America, but also Christian Americans. They are natives. You know how
hmm
many generations of them that they get born in America? So come on. Okay,
exactly.
even I don't want to get into title, but
hmm
a Christian man in Michigan, so legit. He's just talking. He's saying, "Baba, it's a fucking Hezbollah, whatever. He's a Hamas supporter. This one, that." And the Muslim mayor suddenly, the shits come up, and he says, "I don't want you here. The day
Yeah,
that you leave, we will celebrate." What the
yeah.
fuck?
This is how they assert their dominance, Habibi. This is exactly what they do. I mean, listen, I don't know how things are in Germany, how much freedom they have to do what they do, but I've seen, videos of them in France and Canada
Oh.
where they are praying in the street, hundreds and hundreds of Muslims praying Jummah prayer in the streets. Okay, like it's this, but this is how they assert their dominance. This is how they say, this is our area now, and that we're
Yeah.
here and we can do what we want. And, these are scenes from France. These aren't scenes that you see from like Syria or Egypt or like a Muslim country where this is more normal. No, they do this for a specific reason. And it comes down to this too, is like, I remember back in like 2010, 2011, there was uh, the there was a Muslim group, I think. They wanted to build a mosque nearby Ground Zero, nearby where 9/11 happened.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
you remember, but
No, no.
it was a huge controversy. And but people had that idea back then. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe you have the freedom to build your mosque right there, but should you do that? Like do you not understand what that does to like Americans who feel like this is a very insensitive and distasteful thing?
Mm.
And the worst part about that was the reaction from Western liberals, right? Because they acted like complete fucking idiots, and they're like, "Well, what's wrong with that? They should have the freedom to build it there. Actually, I want a mosque to be there so they can show how tolerant the Muslims are." I was like, "Fuck!" Like, imagine in Lebanon, okay? For those of you who don't know, Sabra and Shatila was a massacre in southern Lebanon, in which members of the far right Phalange Party, it was a Lebanese Christian militia that they slaughtered a bunch of people in these refugee camps called Sabra and Shatila, and it was a massacre. It was horrible, like really like disgusting, absolutely horrible. Okay, but could you imagine if a Lebanese Christian said, "I want to build a church where this massacre happened"? How would the Muslims react?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's the problem. The actual the religions, Abrahamic religions like Judaism and Christianity, that they are showing as an atheist. I respect that. I appreciate that. That they've got integrated in the modern day society. They don't get any reward. They will get attacked for their demands, which they don't have that much. But actual Muslims, that for the last decades, most of the terrorist attacks are coming from Muslims, radical Muslims. My mom is a Muslim, from radical Muslims. And every place that they go, the minority radical groups will fuck up the whole country, and they try to fuck up and destroy the whole culture, be dominant, and so on and so on. They get rewarded, bro. Why do we have 4 or 5 mosques? I think we have 3 or 5 mosques in Berlin. Why do we have that? How many Muslims do we have? I thought they are minority. And mosque is, oh my god, mosques in West Berlin, they are, I mean, it's metaphor, but they are even more than doner kebabs. Really. I mean, you can't imagine how many mosques we have in West Berlin. Sorry, West Germany. And as I say every time, mosque is a political station, it's a network. That's the exact way that they took over my country, and they went against Shah of Iran. Which Shah of Iran was not a saint, he was, in some senses, even a dictator. But that's the way that they operate. But still, and also, nowadays I realize Europeans, they listen to us. But leaders, their leaders, they are completely disconnected with the will of people. Why you are not? I have a question, Michael. A Syrian man, okay? If we are fighting for children's rights, a Syrian man, that we can recognize him as a radical. Nowadays in Germany with this technology, it's easy, okay? A radical father in a 60 meters apartment with his wife. Why should you allow him to have 8 children?
Oh, Jesus
Do you know
Christ.
that's a case in Germany? We have Syrian children that they've got born in Germany, and they are 7 years old, 8 years old. They are in school and they can't speak fucking German. For God's sake, it has to be their mother tongue, because they are irresponsible. Not enough wealth, not enough money, no job. They work black without paying tax. And in 60, 70 meters that has just one bedroom for the parents, they have to live there. Is it not children's right? The same shit that they were not standing for the Arab children's rights in Gaza when they were radicalizing them, when they were telling them, if you kill more Jews, it's probably you go to heaven faster. When they were teaching us that these Jews stinks, or these Jews, they will be destroyed by the will of Allah in
Hmm.
Iranian schools. And interestingly, the kind of the history of Jewish people in Iran is as old as Iranian history. When
Hmm.
Cyrus the Great found Iran and liberated the Jewish people, some Jews, they said, "Oh, fuck it, these Iranians are cooler. Let's stay with them." And bureaucratic, corrupt Islamic system evacuated a community as old as our history. I mean, where should I bring this madness with these dumbass European leaders? Fuck! Bro, I can't handle it anymore. They are rewarding it. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. So I'm not acting. I'm terrified for the future of my country. I want woman life freedom. I want freedom, not just for my country, for Middle East. Bro, what is happening to our region?
In a lot of ways, Europe is becoming more extreme than the Middle East. Um, listen, so part of my past being pro-Palestinian, when I was pro-Palestinian, was that I was a big supporter of Bashar al-Assad, because
Mm.
at least for me, he was secular, right? The religious minorities, I'm not saying it was a picnic living under Bashar al-Assad, but he at least, he didn't persecute the Christians, he didn't persecute the Shia, the Druze, like I don't think he persecuted the Druze. Um, but like in Syria under Bashar al-Assad, there were less Salafi mosques in Damascus than in London. There were
Ugh.
less extreme mosques in
Right
Damascus
now,
under
you
Bashar
mean?
al-Assad
Right now?
than in London. No, now it's completely different. Now it's, every corner is probably a Salafi mosque with somebody, yelling crazy shit. But
So under Bashar al-Assad, Salafi mosques, they were less in Syria than England, Great Britain.
under Bashar al-Assad, like to be an extremely religious Muslim, like a Salafist or a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, like you were treated poorly because you were seen as a threat. Because the number one opposition to Bashar al-Assad was Sunni Muslims, religious Sunni Muslims, and so they would crack down on Sunni extremists. Now that doesn't clean up the rest of Bashar al-Assad's record
Yeah.
just
He was a
just so
murderous dictator.
of course
Just for the,
absolute murder,
yeah,
a mass murderer, no different than Saddam Hussein, no different than the people running
Khomeini.
Hamas, no different than Khamenei. I mean, these people are, but it is a funny fact to think that in Syria, a country that was going through a civil war, that in the parts held by the government, they were less extreme than parts of London.
Bro, that's easily, that's the obvious reason why you see Europe and especially specifically UK is going down.
Hmm.
I mean, they see this stuff, and funny wise, interesting. I say it's gone because we have also another problem with UK. They are not just these minority radical groups. They are operating not just in UK and like the way that they are operating in other countries, but not just that. They have also so many Muslim mayors, Muslim, I don't know, community representatives or whatever, that they are in the system, that they can easily go against any sort of laws or restriction or limitation on these kind of actions. It's madness what we are seeing in UK, and I always say, thank God, with the respect and love that I have for UK, Great Britain, and UK, the people in UK. Sorry, although that I'm always mad for your colonization and always your mismanagement in Middle East, that it's still your leader is fucking it up. Sorry, people, but you don't deserve this Islamic colonization. I'm with you, but thank God that you're on an island. You don't have any, really. I mean, you're surrounded with water. Because these zombies, if they have shared borders with the rest of the Europe, now I can focus on France, because it has shared borders with rest of the Europe. But UK is gone. I don't know. Do you have any hope for UK?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Europe has reached the point of no return. I mean, they're so powerful in Europe, the Muslims. They are. They have the numbers that they need. And like I said, they don't need to be 51% of the population. There's enough of them that they can completely tear the country apart. France too. Although I will say that I have a little bit more hope for France than I do the UK because France has this very proud culture of secularism. And
Mm,
I think France would be more assertive in tackling radical Islam than the UK is. For some reason, the UK government just lets them run wild to the fact that, I mean, there was a UK politician, a Muslim politician. I think he won an election, some sort of local election. And after winning the election, he said, "This is for Gaza." What? This is for what? It's just,
oh,
and you know what's
bro,
funny is
let's
my
go.
father, when
Uh,
he left Egypt, okay, he was trying to
uh,
decide between moving to the UK or moving to the United States. And
okay.
my dad says it every time I see him. He's like, "Thank God I chose the United States." Thank God.
Bro, no, no, no. I don't want to.
Look at
I
this guy.
don't.
Look at Starmer. He looks terrified.
Tell me if you hear it.
So we are clear. This solution is not a reward for Hamas because it means Hamas can have no future, no role in government, no role in security. We have already prescribed and sanctioned Hamas, and we will go further. I have directed work to sanction other Hamas figures in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the man-made humanitarian crisis in Gaza reaches new depths. The Israeli government's relentless and increasing bombardment of Gaza, the offensive of recent weeks, the starvation and devastation are utterly intolerable.
And do you realize it? For the starvation, he doesn't mention Hamas. He says man made, but he doesn't mention Hamas even for one single fucking time. And directly, he jumps the way that he's addressing. Maybe some people, they don't care, but I care. The way that you're addressing the whole nation and the world is important. Directly, you go to talk about Israel and
Hmm.
devastation and whatever. Do you see the game?
Right. By the way, that's the only part that the Muslim world is going to hear is the part about Israel. They don't give a shit that he's saying. Like, first off, sanctioning Hamas really doesn't do anything because that's the thing. It's not a Hamas problem. Okay, it's not like Hamas is the one group that's problematic in the Middle East. No, it is a culture problem. It is an identity problem. Their identity is born out of extremism. Their identity is born out of wanting to eradicate the Jewish people. Okay, let's say you get rid of Hamas. A new group will come up, and then what are you gonna do? Then what are you? I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna do what Europeans always do, which is they would rather do business. They would rather, try to work out some bullshit agreement than do the tough but necessary work of putting your foot down and saying, "No, we don't accept this. We are gonna work against you. We're gonna try to uproot you. We're gonna help Israel uproot you." But that's not what they're gonna do. And I mean, like I said, it goes back to the culture. Hamas is arguably more popular in the West Bank right now than they are in Gaza. And so what are you going to do about the people in the West Bank who support Hamas? Okay. I mean,
Shit.
let's say Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas dies. Okay. And somebody new comes to take his place and they feel more, they feel closer to Hamas's ideology than they do to the secular ideology of the Palestinian Authority. And what are you going to do then? They're not going to do anything. They're just going to let it happen. And it's but that's how naive these Western politicians are. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if they're really naive. Sometimes I think they're just evil. That's what I like, because my default
Mm.
is uh, it's easier for me to believe that people are evil than to believe that people are stupid. For some
It's so
reason, it
interesting.
really
It's so
hard for me to
interesting.
believe that people are stupid. I know that
Yeah,
there's
no, no,
genuinely
no.
stupid people out there, but it is easier for me to believe that people are evil.
You know, with my experience in Germany, I tell you, and by the way, again, I will tell you, it's just a hypothetical idea. I don't have any kind of evidence for it. I'm not spreading any kind of violence or lie. I'm just guessing. Maybe it's this way. It's just my estimation. No accusation. You are a politician, for example, in Germany. Okay? What's your goal? To be elected for the next election. Probably. If you're a
Hmm.
decent politician, you will go for a change. You don't care about the timeline, how long you're in the office. You go for a change. That's why you became a politician, because you realize you can make a change for your society. So, you go into office, you are center left, you are leftist, Greens, Die Linke, SPD, the Labour Party in Germany, whatever. And you have a group of Muslims, most immigrants, they will elect leftists, and you have a group of Muslims that they have this kind of tribalist way of voting.
Exactly.
So you can buy their votes so
Hmm.
so easily. Okay, now you have the option to stay and hold the power for a long time. And apart from that, beside that, there is a thing in between politicians, and I mean, it's not just between politicians, that in chaotic situations you can make money. In
Yeah,
chaotic situations you can always make money. We
of
have
course.
always businessmen in during Holocaust and Nazism that they were making money because of the war. Okay, so you're a politician, you can make money, you have the votes by the Muslims, you can stay in power. Why shouldn't you close your eyes on some elements or radical stuff? Why shouldn't you? You have the power, you have the money. If you're a decent politician, you don't go that way to make money because of catastrophic situation, but also that door is also open. It's just something that I'm guessing. It's just a, you know, what's it called? Conspiracy theory. It's just a conspiracy theory, guys. Nothing is real about what I've said, but you know. So,
No,
what would you do as a
it's real in
politician?
America. It's real in it's real in America.
Use your freedom of speech. Shout it, brother.
It is real in America. I mean, I see clips on an almost daily basis of Muslims talking in their mosques, saying, and they're preying on Americans' sort of dissatisfaction with the system, because every American feels like the system doesn't work for them and that it only benefits the people who are sort of at the top of the food chain. And so what happens is, I saw a clip that says, this Muslim's talking about Americans, they're sick of the way things are, they're sick of democracy, they're sick of capitalism, they're looking for a new way, and Islam can provide that new way. And they're emboldened. Like and the thing is, like, no, I swear to God, man. And what makes it worse is you have people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, like,
Fuck.
and now they see these people who 6, 7, 8 years ago, okay, would have been saying something completely different. And so they're saying, if we can get Tucker Carlson to feel this way, imagine what we can do with the rest of the American society. That is their way of thinking. Like, people don't understand that Islam is meant to take over. It's not meant to live side by side. Okay. And that's also why, you know, in the pro-Israel space, the space that you and I are in, I sort of, I'm not a big fan of the talking point that highlights how well Muslims are treated in Israel, right? Which listen, an Israeli Muslim is equal to an Israeli Jew in the eyes of the law in Israel, okay? And so this is one of the talking points that, people in my space like to constantly bring up, especially when they're talking to Muslims. But you have to understand that like equality doesn't mean anything to them. They don't care that they're equal to you. They don't want to be equal to you. They want to
It's
be
not their
on
matter.
they want to be on top of you. They want to have more than you. They want to be preferred by their system over you and your system. So that's why like I noticed that like, you know, Israelis and Jewish people and people who are pro-Israel, they, for them they sort of get like demoralized. They're like, how can you hate us when we treat you so well, when we give you so many freedoms, when free healthcare, free education. The Israeli Arabs, they're the most educated and well-off Arabs in the region, except for like the Arabs in the Persian Gulf countries. But they get,
Love you,
yeah,
brother.
I'm trying to remember. Um, they get sort of disheartened because they feel like in a normal world these are things that other people should appreciate. And that's true. In a normal world, these are things that people should appreciate because I love my freedom in America. I love my equality in America, just like I'm sure that you love your freedom and your equality in Germany. But for the Muslims, it's different. They don't want that equality. They want to be equal for as long as it takes for them to take over.
Bro, explain Islam and Darul.
Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. So in Arabic, Dar al-Islam means the house of Islam, and Dar al-Harb means the house of war. And so Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb are constantly at odds with one another. And the Muslims try to present it as, oh, well, Dar al-Harb is just the people who are attacking the Muslims. But it's way, way more nuanced than that. Like Dar al-Harb means like if you have Muslims in your country, right? And let's say you restrict their ability to build mosques. Now you are part of Dar al-Harb, right? Like let's say the city of Berlin, says, you know what, there's no need for any more mosques, right? You guys have enough. And let's say Germany also puts in, into law saying no more dawah. You cannot go on the streets and try to convert people. Automatically, they are now part of Dar al-Harb. They're part of Dar al-Harb just because of the fact that they're not that they're not a Muslim country anyway, unless they're connected by a treaty or something. But I mean, there's a lot of conditions on what places you in Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. And no matter what, the point of Dar al-Islam is to, change these lands that are part of Dar al-Harb to be part of Dar al-Islam. It is meant to take over. Period. Period. And they tell you that. That's the thing is like they're telling you that. So I don't know why you're not believing them. You think fine, okay, what they'll tell me is like, oh, you hate Islam, you're biased, and like how can I trust your opinion on? Okay, fine, don't listen to me. Listen to them because they're telling you this. Okay, there's an Islamic preacher not that far away from where I live, like maybe an hour and a half away. His name is uh, Uthman ibn Farouk or Omar ibn Farouk. I think Uthman ibn Farouk. But anyway, like he says all the time, Islam will enter every house whether they like it or not. And I've seen it said here, I've seen it said in New York, in Canada. This is what they plan to do. And then
Come into my house, motherfucker. You came one time. Let's come into my house and face what you will face.
And if Islam takes that was a book.
Live programs.
Yeah.
Go for it. It's fun.
If Islam takes over, right? Let's say Islam, takes over America, God forbid. But what do you think is going to happen to gays for Gaza? What do you think?
Actually, that's really funny. Actually, gays, they will in America, and after that, suddenly they feel that they are really in Gaza, on the fourth floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that America has tall buildings, so it means more barakat and more good deeds for Muslims. It's taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? Let me just share this madness with you. The map of mosques in Germany. Do you see it, bro?
Oh
That's
my
that's
God.
that's Berlin on the right side, and just oh fuck. Yeah,
Can
you
you
see it.
can you zoom out a little bit?
Zoom out. That's all. Actually, that's all the picture.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like Germany has herpes.
Do you hear the mouse here?
I
Do you
can see
hear?
it, I can't hear it.
Okay. No, the scroll that I'm making.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is Berlin. Like 4 or 5 mosques. Just Berlin. This map, actually, this side was West Germany. This side is East Germany. I have still personally hope for that. But look at the West. Oh
Yeah,
my God. Look at it. Just look at it.
that is a problem.
That's more than a
That
problem,
is a
brother. That's
problem,
more
man.
than
That
a
is
problem. And here is Dar al-Harb. Here is the house of war.
Yeah.
They want to take over. They see this place as the land of infidels. And you know who they hate the most? You think these white Europeans? No. They hate me and you the most.
Oh yeah.
The Middle Easterns, that they were growing up by Islam, by force, and they are rebellions against this sick ideology that they are implementing it with their radical way. My mom is a Muslim. I don't have any problem. I rather die for my freedoms, the freedom of speech, for my mom. Why
Mhm.
not? She has to go to her mosque, but your religion belongs to its place. If you're a Muslim, mosques. If you're a Christian, churches. If you're a Jew, synagogues. And Christians, again, Christians and Jews, they've got integrated in modern societies. Muslims still not. We have absolutely a majority moderate Muslims. Where are
Do we?
they?
Do we? Do we have a majority? I don't think we
Brother,
do.
let's assume that we have. Where are they? They have to be on the streets. They have to condemn the radicals every fucking day, and they have to show the will that we want to be a part of modern day societies. Do you see that? No. So what do we want to do about it? Silence? Come on.
And that's the problem, is that the moderate Muslims aren't even that moderate. They're just not. I spend so much time with them.
Yeah.
Like I know firsthand that they're not that moderate. You know what a moderate Muslim is? A moderate Muslim is a Muslim who just doesn't practice Islam. That's it. You know, like a moderate Muslim is the Muslim who's on his way out of Islam. Like I know some people, actually, I have some Muslim followers who they come to me and they've told me, you know, I want to practice my Islam in a way that doesn't, bother people, doesn't try to hurt people, accepts Israel. Honestly, I've had Muslims like that. They've told me that, and I think that's beautiful. Like if you can do that, if you can at least put that out for yourself, like why would I have a problem with that, right? Like do what you want to do, be the peaceful person, give like practice a better form of Islam for yourself. But the thing is that it's, actually they're the ones who are hated the most. The Muslims who want to reform Islam are the ones that are hated the most, even more hated than you and
Mhm.
I, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we're kafirs, we're both kafirs. Like for them, they hate the Muslim that wants to reform the religion the most because they feel like you are distorting the religion. It's called in Arabic, it's called bid'ah. It's called innovation. And in Islam, innovation is one of the worst sins that you can commit. It's up there with shirk, which is, associating partners with Allah. So they're the ones that are most hated, and because they're the most hated, those specific types of Muslims, the reformists, they're also afraid to speak out. But the moderate Muslims are actually the problem, right? Because the moderate Muslims will lie to the West about what Islam is. You know, like the moderate Muslims is the one that's gonna try to tell you that, oh, well, you know, Aisha wasn't really 6 years old when she got married. She wasn't 9 years old when Muhammad slept with her. They pull up this hadith that not a single Sunni scholar uses. Okay, they have this weird hadith where it's like, oh, well, they only started counting age after the woman had her first period and stuff. I've literally never heard that. I've never heard that from an
Yeah, because they
actual
don't
sheikh.
fucking care.
I've
Yeah,
never
they
heard
don't
that from an
fucking care.
actual sheikh say that, oh yeah, they started counting the age after the woman has no, literally never happened. And
Do you
so the
see
moderate
her,
Muslims are
Seyran?
problematic.
Yeah, do you see her, Seyran Atesh? She has a mosque. She owns a mosque in Berlin. She's a reformist woman. She's an imam. She got born, I think, in Germany, but she's Turkish German, and she has 24/7 protection.
Yeah,
Sometimes she comes for giving speech in our demonstrations. Always 24/7 with bodyguards.
of
Every
course.
time that she's coming to give a speech for us, 2, 3, 4 men are around her.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, listen, there was a Muslim imam in I think South Africa, and he was gay. Like he was a gay Muslim imam in South Africa, and he was killed. Of course they need protection. Of course they do. And that's the problem. That's the problem with the moderate Muslims, because the moderate Muslims will look at something like that, the gay imam that was killed, and they'll say, that's not Islam. No, that is Islam. That is your religion. That's the problem. You don't get it. That is your religion. That is Islam. It tells you in the Quran to do, I mean, I don't know if it says specifically in the Quran to do that, but it says in your religion to do that. It says in your religion, those who blaspheme against the Prophet must be put to death. Those who leave their religion must be put to death. You have to throw gay people off of buildings. You have to, push huge ass walls on top of them. You can't tell me that this isn't Islam. And
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Islam, if you don't believe in one thing in Islam, it's like you don't believe in the whole religion. So,
yeah.
like you're lying to people about what Islam is, and that makes the problem even worse because, I'll have, you know, Westerners here in America. They'll try to tell me about Islam. They'll try to tell me about Islam, bro.
Oh,
And they'll be like, "Oh, well, every religion has its extremists and all that." And I like, yeah, I mean, on the face of like, yeah, that's true. Every religion has its extremists. But I've never seen a Jewish person blow up a German restaurant and say, "Am Yisrael Chai." It's literally never like. Have you ever heard that? You
and by
know?
the way, are the Orthodoxy Jews, which I mean, ultra Orthodoxy Jews, I don't like them at all. Any kind of religious, radical religious fanatics, I'm against them, whether Jew or Christian or Muslim, whatever. But my question is, are they ruling the community of Jewish people internationally? But in Europe, all these institutions, they are operating with radical Muslims. We know the face, bro. People cannot accuse us that we have poor judgment. We know the face of a typical Islamist, so-called Islamist. Where does this fucking Islamist come? They are Muslims. We have to call them radical Muslims.
Hmm.
What does this Islamist means? Or some people they use the term Islamist colonization. One time I was in a kind of gathering in a bar that we were in a room that we were talking about politics and this kind of stuff. She was started with islamistische Kolonialisierung in German, and I was like, I stood up and at the end I asked some question and I said, thank you for mentioning Islamic colonization, and she was like, I said Islamistic colonization. I didn't hear it actually in that moment, and I
Hmm.
I said I would like to correct it. Fuck you. It's Islamic colonization. I mean,
That is
changing the word doesn't change the content.
right. Listen, you know how you brought up earlier about the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, the one that told the
Yeah.
American guy like he's not welcome here and that he'll have a party. It's funny because before I started showing my face to do pro-Israel advocacy, I was still doing some hasbara here and there, but I wasn't showing my face, right? And I remember I made a video, and it was I stitched a protest in Michigan. Okay, the same mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, was speaking to a crowd of Arabs and Muslims, and in that crowd, you saw the Yemeni flag, you saw the Lebanese flag, you saw the Syrian flag, you saw the flag of the IRGC. I didn't see a single fucking American flag, not even once, and that is what colonialism looks like. That is what colonialism looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're telling the people who, have probably lived here for generations, you are not welcome here.
And what they want is chaos. That's the problem. What they actually want is just chaos. I mean, it's their game. And you see it how they've connected everything to the Black Lives Matter. I don't accept what Charlie Kirk was advocating for in with his religious beliefs. I just respect him for the way that he was advocating for freedom of speech, which he was a major player, and I really appreciate it. And I don't give a fuck about his beliefs, and I'm against so many of them. But interesting, did we see how many riots did we see? Looting, I don't know, the markets, shops. Where was it? And I never forget that. This level of hypocrisy. I think it was second or third day of Black Lives Matter protests in America. Because they were attacking in order to loot a shop. A black police, African American police, died
Yeah.
because of their attack. No media coverage. On his duty. On his duty.
Yeah.
No media coverage. Nothing. Black Lives Matter? How? You killed one.
Right. And I mean, these people, they, a lot of them will hurt their own communities. They will hurt their own communities. And it sucks because I have friends who are black and they tell me about the things that they go through, right? And it's not that it's not like being Coptic in Egypt, for instance, right? But there is some discrimination. One of my
Absolutely.
friends, he told me, like, I've gotten pulled over like a dozen times this year. And, he's well-to-do, professional guy, right? Drives a nice car. He's like, I've gotten pulled over a dozen times this year. And I've never gotten a ticket. I've just gotten pulled over. The cop checks my ID and my registration. And then, but there's never he's never given a reason for why he was stopped. And so I acknowledge that there's, discrimination and some harassment, but it's nowhere near the extent that the media tries to portray it. And so that same friend, by the way, that same friend that I'm talking about, he hates Black Lives Matter. He hates them because of what they do to the community, how a lot of them have ruined their own communities. One of the things that Black Lives Matter tries to advocate for is defunding the police.
Oh,
Defunding the police would make things so much worse for the black community. So much worse. Like that type of I've never heard of a place that became lawless and got better.
in Quran, I
In
think.
yeah.
Hypothetical world, maybe.
Yeah. But that's also another thing is that, these Muslim groups, they will look for the people who feel disadvantaged. They will look for the people who feel like they are not being treated fairly. And they'll tell them, oh, well, Islam, we can provide you with a better system. We understand your pain because they tell them that they're going through the same thing and they're not. Okay. I mean, if you want to see how bad it can be for black people internationally, look at the Arab and Muslim world.
Bro, victim narrative. Victim narrative is a huge play for Islamic world and radical Muslims, the way that they use it, and they have these similarities with radical leftists. And funny wise, I was seeing a really short part of a documentary that I intend to watch about Antifa. It was so interesting. In the history, Antifa was not just about fighting against right wingers. Antifa, they were fighting also against social democrats, center left. And because I as a center left, I don't get to this bullshit victim narrative. Because if we go into this game, I will be useful to you as long as I stay a minority. I'm useful to you as long as I stay a victim. But that's not the game. That's not the way that we want to go into politics and make a change. We want to make a change for a recognizable oppressed minority to change their life, and they try for them to not to be oppressed minority anymore.
Mhm.
But these people, you are useful to them because you are a minority and you have to stay victim.
And when you don't agree that you're a victim, when you say that you're not a victim, what they tell you is that you're whitewashed. They say that you're a white supremacist. I swear to God. Okay,
Yeah,
because right
typical
now,
literature always.
the line that the left is trying to use in America is that Trump is just going after people of color, trying to deport them and everything. Like, and it's funny to me because if you were to visit where I live, okay, and I live in, a pretty conservative area of California, if you
Hmm.
were to come visit where I live, go tell the Mexicans that I live next to that they're white supremacists because they voted for Trump. They're going to laugh in your face. Okay, Trump captured a significant portion of the Latino vote. And I'm not sitting here, you know, campaigning for Trump. I will say I did vote for him, and I'm happy I did. But I
Thank
know a
you.
lot of black people who voted
As
for
a
Trump. I
leftist,
know
thank you.
a lot of Arabs who voted for Trump, Muslims who
Yeah.
voted for Trump. You're going to tell me all these people are white supremacists? But it goes back to what you said. If you're not a victim, you're not useful to them anymore because they need you to feel like a victim for them to have political power. They depend on you being weak so that you can put
Yeah.
them into office.
Yeah, they are ruining the whole spectrum.
Hmm.
Bro, they are not Democrats. They are not American leftists anymore. Where is Jefferson? Where is Kennedy? They are Marxists, and you can see that. And the fact that they are Marxists shows why they have this big connection with radical Muslims. Every Marxist groups in every fucking country, the exact way, same way like Iran before 1979. Marxist leftists are the one that leftists like me, we have to even fight more than right wingers against these people. They are crazy. Look at this one.
He talks about how the blood of the martyrs, um, I'm quoting, irrigates the land of Palestine. And then further quotes, he talks about how the terrorists should strike them with knives and with their bare hands, and they're victorious. And he also encourages the use of rockets over there.
The best suggestion I
Legit points. Legit
Hmm.
points. Okay. All legit. I mean, it's about violence, other stuff, and he's just talking as a citizen, responsible citizen.
have for you is to not drive on Warren Avenue or to close your eyes while you're doing it. His name is up there, and I spoke at a ceremony celebrating it because he's done a lot for this community. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence. You're somebody who tries to preach it, but in fact do everything but that.
What the fuck, bro? Coexistence. He's talking about coexistence. Can you imagine? Fuck
Fucking,
everything.
fucking
You're
Jinde.
Egyptian. I'm Iranian. Just, bro, fuck the podcast. Just honestly.
I just
between me and you, brother to brother, really.
I wanna I
He's
see
talking
something like
about
that.
he's talking about coexistence. Bro, they ruined our native cultures of our countries in front of our eyes. And in the at the face of a Christian man, that he has legit points, he's saying, you don't believe in coexistence. The man that he's trying to say, motherfuckers, these are Hezbollah supporters. This is about Hamas. These are anti-Semite, whatever. You're not welcome here and you don't believe in coexistence. Goebbels was right. Lie as big as you can. You can spread it easier. Contradiction. Oh my God. Bro, I have to laugh. I don't know. The world has become a madness.
So that guy that they were trying to honor, right? His name was Osama Siblani.
Osama what?
Osama Siblani. They were trying to name a street after that guy. He was the
I
guy who
thought,
said that Hamas and Hezbollah are freedom fighters, okay?
fuck.
And
Okay.
it's crazy that they talk about coexistence because I remember Hassan Nasrallah, the now deceased, the now, no longer with us, founder of, or former leader of Hezbollah. He one time said that it's a good thing Israel exists because now the Jews will all gather in one place so we can destroy them. But he wants to talk about coexistence. And the majority of the Muslims in Dearborn are Shia. Okay.
Shit.
So a lot of them do
shit.
support Hezbollah. Okay. And they support the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. And I'm not saying that the Sunnis are any better, because the Sunnis, they will support Jabhat al-Nusra, they'll support the Muslim Brotherhood and all these groups. So this is not like one is better than the other.
Soft power, hard power.
It's
Same
just,
shit.
it's comical to me when I hear them talk about coexistence, because we don't even coexist back home, and we don't coexist because of them. Like, they are the reason we don't coexist.
Bro, I want to start to talk about, we've talked about the major daily points, and I want to talk about the massacres in Egypt, and also talk about Egypt a bit for us. And actually, it was in my head to do a full episode just about Egypt. Really, it's so interesting, all the stuff that happened, Arab Spring, but it's also another podcast. But tell me about Coptic Christians, that they are getting massacred, all the actual stuff that and I don't know. Just tell me. I'm deaf because of this madness.
The massacres have toned down a little bit. I can't remember the last time that there was like a massacre, but the discrimination is there, the harassment is there, the destruction of property is there, especially in places like Upper Egypt, which is it's a rural part of Egypt. And so, but this is, it's funny because I just saw this yesterday. There was, took a look at the Coptic Reddit, right?
Coptic
The
what?
Coptic Reddit, you know what Reddit is?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a Coptic page, right? And there was this Muslim guy, he made a post. He's like, why are Coptic people so extreme? How come they have such, dislike towards Muslims and everything? And I'm not going to deny that there are Coptic Christians out there who legitimately like just straight up hate Muslims. I know people like that. Like I grew up around people like that they just legitimately like hate all Muslims. And I don't support hating anybody, just, you're random Muslim, like you hate them just because they're Muslim. I don't support that. But it's they they will say things, and I'm like, they will say things, and in their statements I'll be like, you don't see what's problematic with that? Like they'll say, how are Coptic Christians persecuted when there's armed security outside of every church? And I'm like, motherfucker, the reason we need armed security outside every church is because you people are trying to blow us up. Like, the difference between Egypt and a country like Syria right now, okay, between the governments, is that in Syria, the oppression will come from both the government and the people, right? Because Syria right now is being ruled by a member of Al-Qaeda. But in Egypt, the problem isn't as much the government as it is the people. Okay, the people really harbor the most extremism. You know, there was a poll done, and it's a bit of an older poll. This was taken back in I think 2011 and 2012. But they asked like, what are your opinions on Christians, favorable or unfavorable? And 49% said unfavorable. 49% of Egyptians said unfavorable. Keep in mind, back then, 2010, 2011-ish, Egypt's population was, I think, right at 100 million. So that means you have nearly 50 million Muslims who have an unfavorable opinion about their Egyptian Christian countrymen. Okay, and so when you have such a large percentage of people who hate Christians, what do you think that does to the rest of society? When if you're a Coptic Christian and you know a mob of Muslims are coming to attack your village and you call the police are part of that, you know, 50 million people that hate you. Okay, and the Muslims control a lot of the sort of professional unions for certain careers. Okay, so that then the discrimination just to get a job in Egypt becomes very, very difficult. Um, and I'll tell you actually a personal story. Okay,
Go for
my
it. Go for it.
parents met in America. Right, they didn't meet in Egypt. They met here in America, and they got married here. And when they started, you know, going back to Egypt to visit, all right, at first they had to process their marriage certificate from America so that they're recognized as a married couple in Egypt, okay? And so my mom had to go to I think the Egyptian embassy or the Egyptian consulate, all right, here in the States to get that done. And the guy who was supposed to handle that, right? She said, "Hey, I'm here. I need to process my marriage certificate." He gave it to them, and the guy said, "This is a Christian marriage. I can't touch this because I'm Muslim, and this is considered impure for me." You know the word in najis,
Not just
najis.
yeah.
Okay, so he said, "This is najis for me because I'm a Muslim." And so and that was back in the 80s. That was back in the 80s.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
And
also in Egyptian embassy in America.
in America, in America. And, you know, my mom, you know, she made a complaint about it. And then the next guy came and he was very, very apologetic and everything. But that's what I'm talking about is that these people harbor a lot of resentment towards Coptic Christians. And then when Coptic Christians suffer because of them, there's a lot of moderate Muslims who say, "Oh, I think you're exaggerating. I don't, you know, it sounds like you're making things up. You're exaggerating because you want to claim asylum and refugeehood." There is not a single Egyptian Christian that wanted his country to turn out like this. My mom loves Egypt. She really loves Egypt. She has so much pride in being Egyptian. She really loves her country, okay? But her country doesn't love her back. Even her, um, you know, her closest friend is Muslim, okay? And she's even confided to me that, like, sometimes I just don't feel the support, right? Like, she will share a story of, you know, because Christians in Syria were attacked, you know, pretty recently. And so she said to me, I shared a story on my Facebook about Christians in Syria being attacked, and not a single Muslim said anything. Not a single Muslim shared my story, right? Like, that's like, it's not just that they're attacked, it's that they're attacked and then they're ignored. Coptic women, you know, the younger women, like the ones that are still in like high school and college, they'll get kidnapped. They'll get kidnapped, raped, and forcibly converted to Islam. And the police don't want to do anything. All right. And on top of that, just to go to the broader Coptic population, um, anytime that Muslims attack Copts, all right, instead of the police prosecuting them according to the law, what they do is sulha. They force the victim and the criminal to work things out. Because if
Yeah.
because even the police are afraid. Even the police are afraid that if they prosecute a Muslim criminal, that did something against a Coptic person, that they're going to make the Muslims even more angry and that they're going to cause more attacks. That's how crazy things are. Like, there is no justice in Egypt for Christians, unless you're very rich. If you're very rich, you can get justice. But there is no justice for Christians in Egypt.
Bro, if for the people that you're watching it, if you can't call it colonization, there is really something wrong with you, with all respect.
Mhm.
Iran used to be a Zoroastrian country. Where are all Zoroastrians? Lebanon used to be Christian. Where are Christians? Egypt has Coptic Christians.
Mhm.
What's happening to them?
Mhm.
Syria has Christians. What's happening to them? Druze and all other minority groups.
And you know what's fucked
Islam
up?
is an open source colonization plan. It has to be recognized by the world, and all of this stuff as the two children of Middle East, that we love our culture, our region, our countries. We are saying it to, at the end of the day, to say your European leaders are mad. They are really mad. What they are doing right now, we have to pay with our blood, with the modern terrorism that they will invent in the Middle East.
Mhm.
And then no European has something to say. If we go and we kill till the end, the last terrorist in Middle East, and although with the collateral, you have to also consider the collateral damage that it will be even more than Palestinian children right now.
Mhm.
It's the consequences of your leaders, their actions, their decisions.
This is what I hate about the Muslims from back home. All right, I'll just take the case of Egypt, okay?
Yeah.
In a Muslim country, Muslims are allowed to be Muslim first and then whatever their nationality is second. So in
Okay.
Egypt, Egyptian Muslims will say, "No, I'm Muslim and then Egyptian," right? Or they could be Egyptian first and Muslim second, right? They have both options. If you're a religious minority in these countries, you have to be that nationality first and then your religion. So in Egypt, Christians have to be Egyptian first, Christian last, because they can't put their religion above the country. But the Muslims are allowed to do that all the fucking time. The Muslims will
Yeah.
like it
No,
gets me
no, I
so
mean
fucking mad.
it's communism. You know how many similarities we have between Islam and communism. I've heard one time, it's so interesting. I've heard from one of the Islamic regime insiders. He said, it's not a quote or something, it was just something that he was explaining. He said, uh, the president in that time, he had a meeting with Putin, president of Russia. And Putin said to the president, so-called president of Islamic regime, that the only country that is practicing communism is you in Iran. And it's true. For example, you have brotherhood in communism, comrades. You have
Mhm.
the same in Islam. You don't believe in nationality, your ideology comes first. You have the
Yeah,
same in Islam.
yeah.
So many similarities.
That's actually a
And
really good
we,
point.
yeah, and we recognize communism as bullshit, but not Islam and the way that they are practicing it. Absolutely, you think that I'm working for Mossad or whatever. I don't give a fuck about any kind of institution. I'm a hard radical person. I want a revolution, woman life, freedom, and establishment of democracy in my country. That's all. I mean, they don't pay me, unfortunately. They have to, I think. Really. I'm a good advocate for Israel. Whatever. But I'm advocating for Israelis as a minority, as a ethnic group that I see in the history of our region. They are oppressed, and I feel responsible to work for that. But and I acknowledge absolutely we have bullshit stuff also in Jewish books or Christian books. Why not? But as I say for the third time, they've got they've got integrated in the modern day society. That's the difference.
Mhm.
That's the big difference. But still you have this kind of approach in Middle East, out of Middle East, Egypt, your example, Iran, my example, Syria, I don't know, Lebanon. Where are these moderate Muslims? Where is this good the form of Islam? Because it's the exact way like communism. They always say, yeah, still the right way of communism still got not implemented. Still we have to wait for that precious form of Islam. Motherfucker, it's 21st century. It's there since the fucking 7th century. When would it come?
Yeah.
Tolerable, good kind of Islam. Where is it?
It's
And for any kind of pro-Pali or Muslim, radical Muslim that they are watching, I'm the son of Abu Lu'lu'. You know Abu Lu'lu'? Piruz
oh, the
Nahavandi,
one that yeah, the one
that
that
eliminated Omar,
yeah.
Islamic. I'm the son of Abu Lu'lu'. The only thing, the only way that you can silence me is by killing me. And believe me, the people like me and Mikhail, we will be duplicated. You can't silence us anymore. And by the way, for the last stuff, also you've got a threat. They
Yeah,
put
somebody put the red triangle over
this
my
red
head.
triangle. What the fuck is that, bro? Tell me. I'm so sorry for that, and thank you that you're fighting. One thing. Sorry. Before that, you explain it. Honestly, you know this political spectrum. You know, PAC money. And there are lots of things. PAC money, establishment. You know, you have to go with a kind of typical stuff, bro. I take pride to say that I'm fully independent, and I will stay that way because I want to talk and say whatever I want to say. If it comes, there comes a day that, for example, I can't criticize Jewish people anymore. No, fuck it. I will criticize the whole universe, but I stick to the facts and truth. You know. But you are among the really few people that I found, and with my heart, I'm so glad that I found you. Always on points, always constantly you're talking, and I appreciate that on the day of Gina Mahsa Amini, you've talked. Bro, you're magnificent. I'm not opening Pepsi Cola for you. You're one of the reasons that I have hope for our region. Really, really. And I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that was my feelings that I
Habibi
wanted
anta,
to
Habibi,
express.
Azizan.
Habibi ya Nur al-Ain. Go for your triangle. What was about that?
I got into a back and forth with this Muslim guy, and he was, calling me every name in the book. All right. So I was responding back, and I wasn't saying nice things either to him. And so, he put the red triangle over my head and sent it to me. And it didn't really faze me because I expect this by now, like my dad tells me all the time, you'll probably get killed doing this. We're like, yeah, maybe, but that shows you who and what they are. In a way, I'm happy that they did it because it is right there for the world to see. You cannot tell me that these people aren't violent extremists. And the funny thing is, the guy was not even like Palestinian. Like it was another Egyptian. It was another Egyptian who did it, Um,
The achievements of Islam.
yeah, the
Two
achievements of Islam. And
persons,
now they're
two
here.
individuals from same nationality against each other. You
And
don't
now
want
they're
to
here.
call it colonization, divide and rule, divide and conquer. I mean,
And
even
his
in America.
comments were, oh, you cops are like this and this and this, and cops have always been disloyal to Egypt. And that's actually the funny part to me, is when they accuse Coptic people of being disloyal to Egypt. Out of all the spies that Egypt had that spied against the Egyptian government, not even once was it a Coptic person. It was always a Muslim that spied against Egypt. The people that attack Egyptian soldiers in Sinai and stuff like that. was never a Coptic person. It's always Egyptian Muslims attacking them. It's just I want to punch these people in the motherfucking face. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Invert the narrative. That's their game.
yeah.
Always. They always try to invert the narrative. And funny voice, people will think they are right. What the fuck? I mean, because it's sometimes, in my opinion, in my eyes, we know this game. It's so naive how they try to invert the narrative. They are the baby killers. They call others baby killers. They are the oppressors. They call themselves oppressed, and the other side is the oppressor. And some people buy this shit. I
Mhm.
know there is Al Jazeera, there is Qatar, there is money, there is Muslim Brotherhood, but still, do you have a fucking brain or not? Because they are inverting the narrative in our face. I mean,
Mhm.
come on. We are the humans of 21st century. We have right now Z generations like me. Why? Because we've got born from the beginning with technology. Searching, ChatGPT, debating, talking, having different opinions. How can people buy this shit? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, here's the thing: is in a way, I want them to keep putting out their extremism for the world to see, because the Trump administration is taking this seriously now. I've been submitting names to the FBI and Homeland Security, particularly for those people who are not yet citizens here and they're posting extremist content. I've been submitting their names to the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, and they're going to be taken care of too. It's funny because on that day that I had the red triangle put over my head, I contacted Homeland Security and I contacted Homeland Security first, and I gave them the name of two people who I knew were not citizens yet. They were here on visas, and I saw that the content that they were putting up. And I told the person on the phone, I told them I also had another name, but they were born here. It doesn't seem like you would be able to do anything because it would come down to free speech. And they're like, no, you should actually contact the FBI about it because they will do something about it. And so I submitted the name. I'm not going to say who I submitted, obviously, but they're going to be in for a very rude awakening.
I hope that they implement the same thing. Bro, I really, in this very moment, for Germany, I love Germany, as I say every time. Germany and German people, they gave me the stuff that I couldn't experience in my own home, in my own land. I'm always grateful for that. For two countries, I will go and I will fight till with my blood for my home, Iran. And I see, even I'm not a citizen, but I see Germany as my second home. That's a country that I will defend it, and also with my blood, and also its people. So I'm grateful to it. But I really miss really to have Marco Rubio in Germany. Bro, that man is a genius. The way that he's doing this stuff. Oh, I don't believe in God, but thank God, really. Thank God that he's in America. He's revoking visas. That's a policy that Germany has to implement. Who are these motherfuckers that came in the last 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, whatever? They are protesting in Humboldt in Berlin. Humboldt University, Free University. These are major universities, not just in Germany, in whole Europe. And they have to revoke their fucking visas. That's the right policy. It's not a privilege. Having visa, it's not a privilege. And
Yeah,
state can determine your future. And if you're coming here, participating with this bullshit, radical stuff, you shouldn't be here. No, 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 no. You shouldn't be here. And we need some kind of perspective and visions like Marco Rubio.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I personally, I think if you're here on a visa, that you shouldn't be protesting at all.
That's too much, I think. But this kind of protest,
I'm
it's not
talking about
even
the
protest.
I'm talking about the Muslims.
Maybe. Yeah,
I
they have to face consequences.
yeah, I completely. I think this is the thing, and people will hear this and think that I'm an extremist or whatever. we have to treat Islam differently than we treat other religions because it's not
Yeah.
simply a religion.
Yeah.
It's an entire way of life. It is a religion, it is a political system, it's a social order. You can't treat this like any other religion. So for me, personally, what I would do if I was Trump, end Muslim migration. Just end it. Make exceptions for certain people, people who are atheists trying to flee Muslim countries, people who are Christians, religious minorities, persecuted minorities. That I'm okay with. But religious Muslims should not be allowed to travel to the West, move to the West. Why would I want to add that influence to the West? One of the things is, when you add a lot of Muslims to your country, one of the first things that happens is anti-Semitism increases because Muslims, for the most part, have anti-Semitic beliefs. It's embedded in the Quran. And when you increase the amount of anti-Semitism in your country, what happens to the Jews who live here? They're going to want to leave. And Jewish people, they're very dynamic people. They contribute a lot to the arts. They contribute a lot to the economy. They contribute in so many ways. And one of the sort of signs of a dying society is a rise in anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. When you see an increase in anti-Semitism, it shows it's a really bad direction for the country. The country is headed in a very bad direction. So look at Russia, okay? When the Soviet Union collapsed and the Soviet Jews were allowed to go to Israel, the level of extremism in Russia increased even more, and it was already an anti-Semitic place to live. And now look at Russia. It's I don't want to call it a shithole, but it's basically a gas station with nukes. It's not necessarily a productive country. Florida I think has the same GDP as Russia, and Florida has 25,
that's
30 million
always
people.
with the militarized countries. That's always the problem. Yeah.
And look at every country that has the population that's predominantly anti-Semitic. They're shitholes.
If you were saying to me that anti-Semitism is a sign that your society is going to collapse, maybe like 2 years ago I was laughing at you. Come on. Now I'm realizing it, really. Now that I'm engaged with anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, it's true. I don't know how, but it's true. And it's so interesting. It's so funny. I think it was also from Merkel. I don't know, but this sentence is fact. It says Muslims are the only people on planet Earth that they run from their governments in their country, and they come to a democratic country for establishing the same government in the new country. What the? You are running from that country, that ideology. You are here in a democracy. You want to implement the same shit? No, nothing. Not responding. Believe me, not responding. Is it okay to close it right now, or do you have some stuff also to say?
I was just going
We
to
have time.
say one thing because
Go for
you
it.
said that, right? There was actually an Iraqi Muslim who said something similar. He said, if the Muslim has the choice between a Muslim government and a secular government, they will vote for the Muslim government and then move to the secular country. And it's true.
Mic drop.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
true.
That's
It's
true.
true.
Fuck. Oh my God. Don't forget to donate. Independent media, it's crucial to support it, please. You have it in description. We have so many collaborations also. Follow Michael Coptic Capara 0548.
Yep.
Shit,
Yeah.
I remember. You see?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. And you can find him also in the description everywhere. Don't forget to donate with PayPal and buy me a coffee. Thank you for watching this podcast, and hopefully your I don't know, your ideas got improved and you got more information. Leave a comment also. Your opinion matters. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. Mikhail.
Thank
For
you.
your, or
Thank you.
Mikhail. Thank you for your love, for your time. I love you, brother.
Thank you. I love you too, bro. Khadafaz.
Khadafaz. I've got professional.
I like it. I love the bass line.